pretty much since the Kawhi season ended in 2019 with the Raptors winning a championship, they've been searching for some type of consistent and notable success. They had little inklings of decent seasons during the Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet era after Kawhi left and they, won their championship in 19, but it never really led to much. And they finally decided to tear it down during the 2024 season when they notably moved off of Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby during the season and lost Fred VanVleet in free agency to the Houston Rockets in the offseason. And since that time period, they've basically kicked off a new era, I guess you could say. They brought in Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett from the Anunoby trade, and they've made some nice filler draft picks throughout the past couple seasons. But their first real big move in what I'll call, I guess, the Scotty Barnes era, if you will, is bringing in former All-Star bucket getter Brandon Ingram during last season's trade deadline. And although he didn't play any games for Toronto last season due to injury, he has been a key part to their successful start to this season, which can now segue me into the main portion of this video in the fact that Toronto Raptors are 9-5 and are one of the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference so far. Granted, the Eastern Conference is fluctuating almost every day, but for the Raptors to be 9-5 through 14 games is a pretty good start, and I think it's worthy to get talked about. The Raptors so far, they're an above average team statistically. They haven't had any fluky numbers that I saw so far. Offensively and defensively, they're 9th in offensive rating, 11th in defensive rating, and are also one of the league's assist-leading teams, while also being one of the team leaders or the team league leaders in field goal percentage as well. And I'd say individual performance-wise, they've gotten some pretty good starts to the year from their wing trio of Ingram, RJ, and Scotty. And although Ingram has been their team leader in points per game, and RJ Barrett's proved to be a really solid third option for this Raptors team, I think Scotty Barnes has been hands down their best impact player to start the season. Barnes is absolutely filling the stat sheet on both ends of the floor. He's averaging basically 28-5 with 3 stocks per game. And he has been a true Swiss Army knife all-star caliber player for the Raptors this season. Barnes in the past couple years has kind of had his stock drop amongst the NBA media because of the fact that it feels like his game has gotten kind of stagnant. He's not a consistent shooter, but so far this season, he shot the ball pretty well. And he's gotten back into the form that led him to become a first-time All-Star, I think it was either 2 or 3 years ago, where, he really earned that rep of being one of the top young players in the game. He has so far proved to be one of those guys this season. And it's good to see if you're a Raptors fan because I feel like he's an important piece of this team's future. And although personally I don't think he can be like your number one option guy, he is definitely somebody you want to have at the top of your roster down the road because he does a little bit of everything for your team. Another good positive stretch the Raptors have gotten out of their roster is some Emmanuel Quickley production, plus some positive bench production as well in recent games. In the last 5 games, Emmanuel Quickley has averaged nearly 25-5 with elite shooting numbers, and it's been nice to see him step up because as an Emmanuel Quickley fan, a Knick fan that saw him from his rookie season blossom into the player that he became, it sucked to see him catch some slander, but he deserved to catch some slander. He wasn't playing well. Obviously, he got the big contract from the Raptors. I think it was 2 off seasons ago, so I understood it, and so far he has answered the call pretty well. He's bounced back, and I think that's good to see. Now, do I think he's a long-term solution at the point guard spot for the Raptors? I'm not going to lie, I don't think so. I don't know for sure. I'm leaning towards the side that I don't think so. But it's nice to see him bring some value to the team, whether that's as a potential trade asset or as somebody they want to keep and maybe he's your 2 guard or wherever he is. I don't know. But as for bench production, the Raptors in general on the season haven't gotten a lot from their bench. They're in the bottom half of the league in bench points per game as a team. But recently they've gotten some pretty big games out of their young bench group. In their last 9 games in which they've gone 8-1, they're ranked as one of the higher bench units in net rating in the entire league. And they've gotten some pretty good performances out of a lot of these guys, like some of their young guys, like Jamal Shed, Grady Dick, and their 2025 lottery pick, Colin Murray Boyles. Not to mention, they also did bring in Sandro Mamashvili. I don't know if I said his name right, but we're going to stick with that, and I apologize if I didn't say it right. But They've gotten some performances out of those guys, and the Raptors have been one of the league's biggest surprise teams so far. And with how jumbled up the East is, it could possibly lead to this team making one of those top 6 playoff slots in the East. I'm not saying it's a guarantee because it's still 14 games into the season, but they've looked pretty good. Now, here's the alternative is maybe they kind of fall off a little bit and, maybe some individual performances lead to some guys getting traded for assets. That could be another avenue this team goes as well, but I know Raptors fans don't want to hear that because the team has been, pretty much garbage the past couple years. They like to see some success. So you know what? I'm going to let them enjoy their success and say, hey, look, why not go for the playoffs and get some fun out of a season that some people probably thought there was not going to be a lot of fun, right? It could make for one of Toronto's more fun seasons since the year that they held the crown and won it all in 2019.